Welcome everyone for today's video. We have the world champion against the world champion. We have Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces against Gukesh and the black pieces and SuperUnited Blitz Croatia 2025. Carlsen starts with e4, Gukesh responds e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. We have Spanish game, knight f6, and we have d3 anti-Berlin and bishop c5. Gukesh played. Knight c3. Now Gukesh can play knight d5. Instead he castled. Bishop takes knight, d takes bishop. Bishop e3 by Magnus. Bishop came back to d6, and we have now bishop g5 pinning the knight on f6. Now we have h6 by Gukesh, kicking the bishop. Bishop came back to h4. He cannot play g5 because Carlsen still not castle. So he can castle in long side and attacking the black king. So Gukesh think what to play. He played bishop on g4 pinning the knight. Magnus played h3. Bishop takes knight and queen takes bishop. Bishop came back to e7. Bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, and we have g3. Want to play h4, limit the black bishop. So Gukesh played queen d7. Carlsen played h4. Bishop came back to e7. Maybe he wants to play f5. Now the plan of Carlsen that he has good knight against bad bishop for the black. Castle, short castle by Carlsen. He want to bring maybe his knight to d1, then e3, then f5. Very nice place for the knight. So Gukesh move with bishop to c5. King g2 by Carlsen. Bishop d4. Knight came back to e2. Gukesh can take the pawn on b2, but then rook b1. He will take back the pawn on b7. Bishop b6 by Gukesh, and we have now g4 by Magnus. He will bring his knight to g3, f5, and very nice attack on the king side. g6 by Gukesh. Knight g3. Now the plan to play h5, and the knight will sit on the f5. So Gukesh play queen to e7, attacking the pawn h4. Magnus play rook h1, and Gukesh play rook a on d8. Good plan. He want to bring the rook to d6, then to f6. So Magnus play a4, a5 by Gukesh. Queen came back to e2. Rook d6, and we have queen came to d2, attacking the pawn on h6. He will play then h5, and the knight will come to the f5, so king g7, now h5. Only move for Gukesh to play queen g5. He cannot eat, he cannot push his pawn to g4 because the f5 square will be the good place for the white knight. Will Gukesh find this move? Let us to see. He plays the queen g5, queen takes queen, h takes queen, and now the plan to bring his rook to f6. So Carlsen bring his knight to f1, he want to go to d2, then to c4, triple attack for the knight and bishop and pawn on f5. Still thinking what to do. Rook f6 on the board, f3 by Magnus. The best move for Gukesh to place bishop to d4, then if white to play c3, then the d3 pawn will be weakness. He will start to attack with the rook from d8, but instead he played rook to f4, want to play f5, pawn takes pawn on g6, pawn takes pawn, and we have rook to h3, protect his pawn on f3. Rook h8, rook takes rook, and king takes rook. Knight came to d2, huge mistake by Gukesh because now no counter attack. He wants two rooks to still attacking the pawn on f3, but now with one rook he cannot do anything, so Carlsen continue his plan to bring his knight to d2, then c4. Very nice place for the knight. Rook came to f6, the knight came to c4, and rook protect the pawn on e5 by rook e6, but Carlsen bring the rook to b1, he want to play b4. We have c5, and the bishop is very bad now. Rook came to h1 check, and king came to g7, so king f2, bishop came back to a7. Will Carlsen take this pawn on a5, then discover check with the bishop. He is thinking about this move. He played it, knight takes pawn and check. King came to e2, pawn takes pawn, one king takes pawn on d3, rook d6 with check. Where to go with his king? King came to c4. The position is completely winning for Magnus. Rook a6, knight takes b7, rook takes a4 with check. We have b4, rook came to a6, rook d1, rook check from c6, and king came to b3. So bishop came to d4 and rook came to d3. Want to play c3, king f6, c3 kicking the bishop. Bishop came to f2, and now the rook will go to d7. Rook b6, and the rook takes the pawn on b7. Gukesh resigned. Very good game by Magnus. He won without any sacrifice, any tactic, just he played positional game. Thank you for watching. See you in the next game. Goodbye.